Welcome to episode 106 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies plus tips, apps, and gear. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg, and my co-host, Warren Sklar, is at the beach this week, so he is not here. But even better, I've got a great guest, returning guest, Mr. Bob Fairbairn. How are you doing, Bob?
I am wonderful this afternoon, Dave. And yourself?
Doing well. Thanks for coming on to the show. I appreciate it. Last time I checked, last time you were here, it's been almost a year. I was like, what am I doing? We got to get you on here more often here. So I'm glad we got you back. And we'll talk about
problems. Yeah, I've been sitting here waiting for a year, Dave.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Didn't think you were, but so we got some news this week. We've talked plenty about WWDC, so you won't hear too much about that for the next few months, probably. Other than just we'll give you some insights on what's going on with iOS 14 and such. But we got news and definitely talking about beta this week, and I'm going to tell you my final discussion about the T-Mobile home internet that I talked about back. I think it was on episode 103 with Dave Hamilton, and what my final thoughts are on that. And we got some discussions about Apple TV, and we'll get into that shortly, as well as some tips and anything else we come up with. And Bob may even talk about some audio things because he is the audiophile. We like to talk about that stuff. So.
Get to talk about audio?
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay. If we have time.
Let's go ahead and dig right into the news this week. And first story, Apple has reportedly canceled some of the Apple Arcade games, and I think it's changing direction. This was actually from Tidbits, and Bloomberg is also good. Always good to get the scoop about what's going on with Apple. Mark Gurman, and the company is obviously struggling to keep people subscribed to Apple's arcade gaming service. I stopped. I mean, I'm not a gamer, so I really stopped playing. So they're canceling a lot of not a lot of games, but some that are just probably just not fitting within the package. But there are some other games out there that are played. I don't know, Bob. Are you subscribed to Arcade? Have you played any of those games?
I subscribed for a couple 3 months, and really, I'm not much of a gamer, so it was fun. The games are very engaging, but I just don't have the time. So yeah,
same here. And some people love games, and I have nothing against it. But it was interesting to see what Apple's going to do with this, because they did invest quite a bit into it. And it's one of the services, along with News Plus, that's having a bit of a challenge. I think News Plus is probably doing a little better than Arcade is, but I think we're going to be doing okay with that. But well, be interesting to see where it goes here. And then Apple has also with their Apple Card, the Apple credit card, they have a promo that if you don't have the card right now, if you're a brand new customer, you sign up for the Apple the service, they will give you a $50 bonus for signing up. Making a purchase of any Apple product would include like Apple Music or the Apple TV Plus or any App Store purchases, and then you would be allowed to use that $50. So do you have an Apple Card, Bob?
No, I keep that pretty tight. I don't. I got to be careful. I would be tempted.
Yeah, we do get 3% cash back, which is nice. So
yeah,
so you can't beat that, and there's always a lot of deals. So yeah, there's having risks too, because you could buy any Apple products, including up to even a pencil if you wanted to, and you can get 12 months free financing with the card. So, which is crazy with the pencil, but I could see it with buying a MacBook Pro or any of that kind of stuff. But
if you're outfitting yourself for a system or something like that, and you understand what you're doing, I don't have a problem with that. I think that's fine.
Yeah. And then following up on that story, this just got announced. This actually just was today as we record this. Apple has launched an actual website to pay your Apple Card bill online, because before you were only able to do it through the Wallet app, which was kind of restricting. So you go to card.apple.com, and the website is there. You sign in, and you can pay your bill and look at your statements and all that stuff right on the website.
Does that have you tried it, Dave? Does that use the two-factor authentication stuff or not?
Yes, because it's Apple. It will, because you're going to use your Apple ID to sign into it. If
Right.
it's if it's not hadn't been signed in with your browser, you'll definitely get the 2-factor. That's definitely important. I agree. Yep.
That's good safety. Yeah, I figured they would, but
so they continue to expand upon more ways to manage your account. And this is another addition. There was even, I didn't even bring the story up. There was even a story about folks who did not qualify for the card. There's actually the Goldman Sachs was going to actually work with you to see how you would qualify. Maybe you pay off on a credit card, or if you try to improve your credit a little better. They're actually, they want people to have this card. So it's the first time I've ever seen, a bank actually wanting people to get their card, because they know how passionate Apple people are, people who love Apple products. So,
interesting.
Yeah. So it's definitely, I like the card. I think I've been happy with it. 3%'s nice on a lot of purchases. You get 2% on Apple when you use Apple Pay, and then 1% on everything else. But no, you got a nice little bonus in your Apple Cash card there each month, and you could buy other stuff, or you could put it towards a bill, and it's a good deal. So, and then other story that came out was it was 9 to 5 Mac. Tim Cook is going to have to, or he doesn't have to. He agreed to testify in Congress this month. This will be in July. During a hearing on big tech antitrust. And of course, it's not only Tim Cook, it's also Mark Zuckerberg, it's also Sundar Pichai from Google, and also Jeff Bezos from Amazon. The 4 biggest companies that have questionable practices when it comes to things. Apple, of course, the big story was with the App Store and that Hey email app, and that kind of triggered a lot of things. Did you have any thoughts about this whole antitrust thing?
It's sort of, I have a problem with squishing rules around for special people.
Yeah.
So Twitter squishes rules around, and Facebook squishes rules around for some public figures. And just because somebody else doesn't mean they're right, and it doesn't mean they're wrong either. So I didn't follow it that much. I don't think I need an email app that's tied to a specific service that's not portable.
Yeah.
So I haven't even looked at it.
Yeah, it's but just more the antitrust of anything.
Well, yeah, is it really antitrust? That's the question, right? I don't know.
That's what you have to ask. Is it really?
Yeah.
But 4 of those companies, have quite a stranglehold on a lot of technologies. The 4 they're going to be speaking at that hearing. So
it will be interesting to see what happens there. I don't expect much, but you never know. Somebody may decide to make some changes. It would be interesting if they could figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. So stay tuned. You're going to be hearing about that soon here. So, and then I just mentioned Apple News a little bit ago. Apple News now they no longer have the New York Times. Not that they really had it anyway. The New York Times decided Monday to exit with its partnership with Apple News, and said it's struggling to compete with large tech companies and readers' attention. Give me a break. I mean, the New York Times, out of all the newspapers, is probably doing the better than most. They've got a lot of subscribers. I mean, just right up there with the Wall Street Journal, and the Wall Street Journal is allowing some content on the Apple News. But the article says this. Actually, I linked to Mac Stories, and
yes.
They're saying this is a bit of a major loss for Apple, according to the statement, because even though the New York Times only offered a few news stories a day, but losing access to it, it's a prestigious paper. It's not like the Chicago Tribune. So,
okay, the Trib's okay. It's fine, but the Times has got a little more cred. I agree.
Yeah.
They really didn't offer a lot of stories and stuff on there.
That's what they said.
There wasn't a lot of New York Times content on Apple News, and it wasn't on News Plus. It was just on News, right?
Right.
Yeah, just on News, right? Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't want to. New York Times didn't want to get into that. I mean, a lot of the other newspapers are the same way. The Washington Post isn't part of it. Los Angeles Times. Some of the other papers are not part of the News Plus part of it. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. I think News Plus will continue to evolve, and it seems like it's doing okay, but it probably could do better. And I'm sure a lot of publishers are still questioning, is it worth their while to be part of it? So
I think it's a tough call for them. It's a crazy methodologies we've got these days for grabbing attention. There's so many different places to grab your attention that it's hard to get eyeballs.
Absolutely. And then 9 to 5 Mac, we have a story about BMW. BMW, of course, that was announced during the keynote last week, that they are going to have CarKey as a tool to be able to unlock your car. Well, BMW just added support in their Connected app ahead of the iOS 13.6 public release, which we'll be talking about in just a second. So they officially announced that, like I said, that key last month. In the release notes with BMW, it's explained that users will be able to create a key card in their application and then access it from the wallet or from their iPhone or the Apple Watch. So it's interesting to see here because they had only announced one car model that this was going to support. Apparently, it's going to support others. It's got in here range of models from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, X5, X7, X6, a lot of models, but they had to have been manufactured after this month, July 1st. That's what it says. So while this is a broad range of different cars, it's limited to only the newest models that were manufactured. So probably it has to have the code or the software in the car to be able to access it. But I can't imagine why they wouldn't add software
maybe
updates.
They can't figure out how to update the root security certificates in the car or something, or they don't want to be able to update the root security certificates in the car.
Right. So this, of course, is only going to be compatible to the 10R, 10S, and newer phones, 11 Pro. So it won't nothing older than the 10R. So to be able to access this functionality anyway. But those of you who drive a BMW, I tend to think usually have a new iPhone. So in most cases,
did you ask BMW for a loaner so you could test it?
Yeah, no such luck for me.
No. Okay.
So it will, but the thing is, it will have to run iOS 13.6 in order for it to be order to work. So that has not been announced yet, and of course, we'll move right on out of the news here into beta testing. iOS 13.6 beta 3 was just released this week, and you got two betas going on at once here now. So you got iOS 14 beta 1 and 13.6 beta 3. I would think Apple is going to be releasing this anytime now, because it is out in public. It's a public beta as well as the developers beta, and they just been having struggles to keep up with. Everybody trying to keep up with all the betas that have been over the last month and a half.
There's a lot of stuff flying.
Yeah, May 20th.
And maybe even a little longer than that with all the stuff that's come out. Yeah,
it could. So are you running iOS 14 on your phone?
Yes. Yeah. iOS 14 and iPad OS. So, and we're using Big Sur on the Mac right now. I'm using here. So just fall back in the other room.
Yeah. So one of the things I think is the update for 13.6 it's putting the groundwork for, as we mentioned before in previous episodes, Apple News Plus Audio and Apple News Plus Audio will be available through that existing news app, which is giving you an audio tab, allowing you to be able to actually listen to a news story. That'll come in handy when you're driving, especially. So they're going to be adding that pretty soon here. So
yeah, that'll be good. My commute doesn't require that, so
yeah. Recently, I think because there hasn't been much commuting going on right now. So
but mine for years, mine has been second floor to basement. So,
and then iOS 14. Since we'd like to get your opinion of what you think about iOS 14 so far. What are you finding that you like and not like?
There's a couple of things that are fascinating. So I just the widgets on the home screen I didn't think meant much to me until I started using them, and they're actually pretty cool. Yeah. I've been playing back and forth a little bit. I have one of the widget stacks on my second home screen, and then I only have 2 home screens now because I got them all shoved off, and I have one note, which is my beta test note, which is all the stuff I'm making notes on betas, and I'm a little bit behind. I got to get a couple more notes in there. I've had a couple of things I need to report. I've reported a couple of things so far.
Yeah.
Again, beta 1, yeah. I'm surprised so far. It has not. I haven't had any trouble, really. I mean, there's a few things. There's a couple of apps that didn't work. A couple of oddities in stuff getting filled in the widgets. So if I swipe over to the left widget screen, there's one of them that's blank right now. The weather one's blank, and so just little stuff like that. You expect that, and beta 2 could blow up in our faces. So just be prepared if you're doing it. No instabilities, little bit of battery life down. Let's see what else. A bunch of stuff on iPad that is fascinating. It's different. The iPad is not. It's not in parallel. You know what I'm saying? There's some things that are changed, so you can't put the widgets over there. So, we could talk about that if you want to, but iPad again has been really stable. So, and I love the sidebars in the apps, things like that. There's some it feels smoother to me. I don't know does that make sense to you? The iPad feels smoother, and maybe it's because I've gotten more used to the using the keyboard, the Magic Keyboard. But man, it's just everything is just like, it's almost more relaxed, I guess.
Yeah. I'm running iOS 14 on a 10R I have, and then I have a first gen iPad Pro 12.9.
Okay.
And that's what I'm running on those 2 devices. And so far I like the widgets. I like the stacks, which is neat because you can have a widget right there and being able to flip through multiple widgets right into a stack that's right there, so it's on one page. The app. What is your thoughts on the app library? I like it. I don't know if I like the fact that it's you're being forced the way Apple thinks you want it organized.
Well, to a certain extent, you're not being forced. I mean, they have a process. You can turn it on and off, right?
Right.
There's an interesting thing that I'm not sure that I like the default. So I downloaded an app. So I needed to work with someone in Europe here this morning, and they use Telegram Messenger. And so I installed Telegram Messenger. Well, when I install it, it automatically goes in the app library. It's not. So here I'm looking for the Telegram Messenger on my phone, and I go, I can't find it. Oh, it's in the app library. So slide down, hit T. There it is. Boom. You're done. So it's just, the muscle memory is not the same. And so I think that's part of it. And I think it's better than, that's on home screen 17. Right. One of the things it's forced me to do is to organize my home screen because now it's cool. I can have more on there or less on there. And I've been very tempted. I've just opened the iPhone up here. I've been very tempted to move this, full width widget with weather and photos and, all that stuff in it onto the main home screen and have 2 home screens. I'm not sure I'm going to do that yet, but works well. I have not moved over to the new reminders. I'm staying with things, and I still use Fantastical. So I haven't really looked at the changes in calendar or reminders yet much. I don't know. Have you looked at any of the app changes? So I haven't done a lot of it. Mail has got some nice stuff, but
yeah, I haven't gone too deep in Mail yet. I probably should. I didn't even think of that. And the browser, obviously, you've got some improvements there with security and it seems like it's working real well. So, but yeah, I just wanted to get your initial thoughts since we hadn't heard from you. It relates to what iOS 14 is all about. But believe me, we're going to be covering it pretty extensively over the next few months here before it really gets released. So I anticipate September release, I would think. And sure there'll be
I would think so. I don't think anything would change. Yeah.
So
I was going to say the only thing that Safari, just in comment to Safari, and I notice it more on the desktop, which is, I know this is iOS, but
That's okay.
this new
Related technologies.
interrelated technologies. Yes, very much so. Um, they are bonded together at the cloud. How about that?
There you
The
go.
privacy report that comes up on my home screen, when you open up the default start page, that's actually been fun to look at. See what they've decided is bad. I think I decide there's a few more things are bad than they do, but they decide a lot of things are bad and don't let them through. And I like that. That's been very nice. So in the last 7 days, Safari's prevented 134 trackers from profiling you, and we won't call anybody out.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how that tracker does work. It's amazing what some of these websites. I mean, CNN is probably one of them. I see they gave it as an example. I mean, like 14 different ridiculous trackers that you're using. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
So it's definitely gonna be interesting. A lot more. We'll continue to find out about stuff, and we'll definitely bring it to you here. So.
Yeah. And the other thing you're talking about, the synergy of the two. So that you scroll down here, and then my iPhone, the iPad's upstairs, but my iPhone's right here in front of me, and it's showing me I can see what's from my different devices here, and the iPhone's closed, so it's the first one, it's the most one up front, and it shows all the websites that are open on the iPhone. One click, and I've got it. So the whole continuity thing is improving across all the devices rather nicely. I haven't played with the headphone switching yet, the AirPod Pro switching. I don't know if that's working right yet or not.
Yeah, no, actually, anyway. I'm going to talk about that as a tip here in a little bit here.
Okay.
I'll do an iOS 13. We want to talk about current because most normal people aren't running iOS 14.
13 is current. Okay.
That's what I said. We have to talk to the people who are using the production stuff. So, Any other thoughts? Or want to move on about iOS 14?
On 14? No, I just my wife's old SE finally died, and we got her a new SE, and it's bigger. There's a couple complaints but she's much happier with that. I've played with that a little bit. Man, that phone is fast.
Yeah, we've talked about it.
That is for the price performance ratio on that device is pretty amazing. The reviewers are all right.
I don't think they've announced any numbers yet as far as how many sold, but and usually they don't. But I would not be at all surprised that it's selling very well.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is. It's right there down the middle where you want it to be. So
yeah. All right, let's go ahead. We'll move on here. I wanted to follow up on my testing of the T-Mobile home internet that I had talked about over on episode 103. If you want to hear about that, with Dave Hamilton. My final decision was it's going back. Because you at most get 30 megabit speeds down, and then you get about 10 or 12 up. And for most people who don't really care about it having real high speeds, I think that's fair. It really also depends in your area where you live, as far as because it's only LTE. So, folks, so they don't have 5G yet, and that's what Warren and I talked about previously as well. So that's kind of disappointing as well. So, but for $50 a month, it's a lot of money for having. When I can use my iPhone as a hotspot if I really wanted to,
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about it, Dave. It's it's a black box of some sort. Put in your house.
It's a actual box that they give you. It's an actual gateway and router. I'll pull it up on camera for you here so you can see it because you hadn't seen this before. This is it.
I haven't seen it before. Okay, so it's not a black box, white box.
Yeah, it's white. Yeah,
and then not pink.
And this does work wirelessly, so you don't have to have it plugged in. So this has a battery built into it, so you can bring this anywhere in the house. So that is one unique thing it does do. So if you want to always you say you want to be closest to the router, well, this could be anywhere in the house. Of course, I think the battery it's the same kind of battery like you see in like the lighting and cameras. That kind of it's a good decent sized battery, and it probably lasts a few hours. So you definitely could bring this. You're not supposed to bring it outside your house, but I can't see how I can't see how people can it can stop them from doing that. Other than T-Mobile will see it because it'll see what tower it's
see
on,
what cells it's on.
And then they say, okay, this isn't your house.
Who knows? Well, what's interesting is 30 by 10 is pretty reasonable, right? Now,
and that's in max. That's in max. I mean, there were times.
Okay.
There were times 15. 12.
Okay.
20.
Yeah.
So but it's LTE. I mean, I can't expect. I'm not expecting gigabit Ethernet. So
well, but if it bonds some channels together, that it could do a pretty good job. Interesting device.
Yeah. It was interesting. Interesting. I was glad that T-Mobile was allowing me to try it out for a month, and they gave me a credit for the month, and I said, great, I'll try it out. Just a side note to everybody if isn't aware of this, if you are a T-Mobile customer right now and you have at least 2 or 3 lines and you're on the T-Mobile One plan, which is the older plan, or the T-Mobile Magenta plan, they're offering a free line. So if you want to sign up for a free line, you just go on and say, hey, I want to take advantage of that free line option, and they'll sign you up, send you either a SIM card, or if you decide you want to get another phone, you could pay for the phone and then have that line for free and not have to pay for the service part of it. So T-Mobile's always, I'm gonna
have to check that out. I don't think I need one, but
I didn't think I did either. But I mean, free is free, so it's always good to have an extra line.
No,
they say it's for the life of you keep it active as long as you don't cancel any lines. So if you start canceling lines, then they make, because they're giving me a little bit of a hassle at first. I said, well, I don't understand. I let you guys know less than a week after I got the home internet, because they were treating that as a cancellation. I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. So I got a guy, Jason, here. He's actually sitting holding on in the chat here for T-Mobile right now, which is great. And then their customer service is second to none, I'm telling you. And
they've been good to me. Yeah,
they've been very good. And just waiting. The SIM card's supposed to be coming in the mail today, so I just set it up and put it in an iPhone and try it out. So,
well, that'll help you, I'm sure.
Yep. So it's going back.
Well, see, I could see where as a backup it would be pretty good. We use in some of the businesses that I help, we use the little Netgear. Is Netgear? Yeah, I think it is. Hotspot. Right. It's similar thing, only it's physically a little bit smaller, and we use it for fallback and stuff like that.
Well, the one thing also I forgot to mention is this service does have unlimited data. So. And it's truly unlimited. So it's just like,
Bob has to look at that
for home use. It might be something that you might look at. I mean, if you want, like I said, it's $50 a month, and they don't. It's not everywhere. You have to actually see if it's offered in your area.
If it's available where you are. Okay,
right. Not everybody has it yet. Even the rep was still new at it. He didn't even know about a lot of the stuff, how to handle it. So.
It's another tool in the belt.
Oh yeah, I mean it's another expense though.
Well, but I have some businesses who are on the edge with their internet providers every now and then, even in the Chicagoland area here, and they need a fallback every now and then. So it might be cost of doing business.
Yeah, maybe. So check it out.
Yeah.
All right, let's go and move on. We haven't talked too much about Apple TV lately, so I thought this would be a good opportunity, especially the fact that there's been some interesting announcements as of late about costs and services, specifically YouTube TV. When YouTube TV first came out, I thought, wow, this is amazing, and it was $40 a month, and I thought, that's great. That is such a great bargain. And it had unlimited DVR. Granted, the channels were limited, but it had your locals and most of the popular channels. So then, of course, it starts to grow. They've added a couple extra channels, and then the price goes from $40 to $55 a month. So I canceled at that point. And then so that this is going over maybe a 6 or 8 month span. So then now you go another 6 months later, they raise it again to $60 a month. So now you're at 30% increase from less than a year. So you'll be like, man, this makes no sense to me. And we've always had the big topic, cord cutting. What's you want to cut the cord? The cable company's raping you, and it's coming to a point now that many of these services cost just as much, if not more, than if you were going with your cable company or satellite provider. Specifically, I use Xfinity Comcast. Yeah, I pay them a lot of money, but I get decent internet. I have gig speed internet, and I've got a fair amount of channels, and I'm paying a good amount of money for it. So you kind of wonder, why is YouTube doing this? Well, YouTube decided they're going to add more channels. They've added stuff from Viacom, CBS. So again, there you go again. They got more channels like MTV. Of course, everybody watches MTV these days, right? So they've added some more channels. Okay, great. Well, they got to pay for that. They have to pay for that content. So there you go. Got to raise the prices even more. So as they keep adding more channels, the pricing is going to be just like where it is with Comcast.
It's identical. It's no different. It's no different. Yeah.
So there is no means of cutting the cord these days. So that was always a big topic the last few years. People saying that, I want to cut the cord.
Yeah. I don't want to add up what we're paying for right now.
Yeah, no, don't. But
I do not want to add it up.
But I wanted to spin this a little bit on Apple TV. Apple really never announced anything during the conference other than some improvements to tvOS 14. But is it the worthy upgrade? It really isn't. Well, the first thing is everybody cannot stand this remote I'm showing on camera here. This remote is horrible. It's by far the worst remote ever. I mean, the remote that you can get on your iPhone to use the software-based remote is very good. Right now, the Apple TV has a A12X processor in it, and you get 64, 128 gigs of space. And, that's more than sufficient for what you're saving when it comes to that. Now you got to decide, all right, do you want this device or do you want something like Roku? Do you want something like Amazon Fire? You can get the Fire Stick, you can get the Fire Cube. They have some great choices as well. But, with us loving Apple and being in the Apple ecosystem, it's pretty tough not to want to have one of these. I'm assuming you have an Apple TV, right?
There are two of them working and a third one that's not hooked up because I'm rearranging my office right now. So
gotcha.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have all three of them hooked up.
No, I'm in your same boat. I've got two hooked up, and one here, of course, in my office, and one down in our TV room or our living room area.
It gets quite a bit of use.
So that's good to hear. So as far as the streaming goes, now they're including all the apps in the TVs too. So all the smart TVs have a lot of the apps already included. So you start questioning, do you really need to have Apple TV anymore? I mean, is it going to be something that you really want?
Shall I admit my TV sins?
Go ahead.
Well, this is live. It's amazing how much. So our main TV is a Sony Android TV device. And for simplicity, basically, that's all we're pretty much using anymore. The Apple TV gets a whole lot less use. The TiVo is getting less use currently. All the apps, and I can tell you how bad some of the apps are on like the Hulu app.
Yeah.
Terrible app. And Android TV is pretty good, but there's more, and we'll talk a little bit about security later. I'll tell you some more stories about that.
Right. Well, that's exactly why I want to bring this up for a good conversation about this.
Yeah.
You hit on some of the other services. We're going to talk about those a little bit, like Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus. There's so many different services out there. There's an app that I believe I used. I suggested in a prior episode. It's called JustWatch.com. It's an app that you can download.
I've heard of that. I haven't looked at it.
Yeah, and what you can do is you can you bring up that app and it actually gives you suggestions. You add the different services that you have as providers right now. So I've got it set up so it kind of makes me sick of some of how many services I have. So you got Netflix, Amazon.
I'm afraid to look, Dave.
Netflix, Amazon Prime, HBO Max, which I talked about. That's new. And Hulu, Amazon Video, and then you have Apple TV Plus. You have Google Play Movies if you go in that ecosystem. Then you have the Apple iTunes, of course, and then YouTube Premium, and then you have CBS. IMDb has its own network, its own channel, which of course you can't watch on Apple TV. You have to watch it on the Fire Stick or the Fire device, and it goes on. Roku and all the other services. So I mean, one of the good things is as this kind of opens my eyes is you can go a la carte because there might be channels that you don't watch all the time. Like, you know what? I love watching the History Channel. You know, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Pawn Stars and American Counting Cars, and those two shows are my two favorites of all time.
Okay.
But they have a lot of good stuff on history there too. Like this weekend, of course, in America for the 4th of July weekend, they'll be doing a lot of stuff about the American history with Independence Day. So it kind of opens your eyes. It's like, oh yeah, I guess it does give you a little more flexibility because half the channels that you get with your cable service, you don't even watch. I mean, it's just crazy. So check that out. I'll have a link in the show notes again. It's called Just Watch, and justwatch.com is the website. But then you start adding up all the prices, all these extra services. Luckily, nice thing with having a T-Mobile account, I get Netflix for basically free. I only pay $3 a month for it because of the I want HD for our whole family. So Hulu, on the other hand, starts at $6, and Hulu does have some good content. But you also can go with a Hulu TV type service similar to what YouTube is, but that price is already at $50 plus a month. But you dump cable for that? How do you think about that?
Yeah.
Amazon Prime Video, you get that included with your Prime account. Most of us these days have those. Then of course you got the networks and all those apps link up with if you have a Comcast or Xfinity account. That's included and that's accessible through the Apple TV as well. So you have all these services that are available through the Apple TV. And CBS Access, All Access. Only if you're a big Star Trek fan and you want to be able to see Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Picard. Well, it is on right now.
So good.
Yeah, Picard was awesome. Yeah, I loved it. But as soon as it ends, I cancel it. I mean, I just don't find anything of any necessary need on there when it comes to that. So
there's a couple of other shows that the family is watching on that, so I can't turn it off.
Okay.
Yeah, and I also haven't finished Discovery. So
there you go. Yeah, you got to get on there. So there's a trick though. I got to tell anybody, if you have a VPN.
Oh, wait a minute. Turn off the live. If
you have a VPN and you have a Netflix account, you can watch content from the UK, which of course includes Star Trek, Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Picard are on Netflix, not in the United States, but people do it all the time. ExpressVPNs. Yep. That's the VPN I have is one of the most popular VPNs out there. And I tried it and it's amazing. It works. But anyway, and then you have Apple TV Plus. Apple is going crazy with content. They're paying for all this new content. They just signed a big, huge deal with Will Smith. They've got all these other movies and shows that they've added, and it really is growing like gangbusters. We've had Apple TV for free for the last year. I don't know if they're going to do it again when we trade in our iPhones for new iPhones when the iPhone 12 comes out.
I bet not.
I bet not. I bet they won't. So then you got Disney Plus. Disney Plus is huge right now. 30 million subscribers already, which is crazy.
Yes.
And of course, everybody's all gearing up because I think it's either tonight or tomorrow night you're going to be able to watch Hamilton, the recorded.
That's right. Yeah, I think it's tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow night?
Yeah, I think it's the 3rd.
I can imagine that the ratings on that is going to be through the roof. And interesting with the Disney Plus, they stopped the free trials. So if you want to see it, you have to pay. No free trials. They stopped that like a week or two, but prior to announcing Hamilton. And this is the actual Broadway show that Lin-Manuel.
The original cast.
The original cast from New York. It was recorded a number of years ago, and they've been holding on to it. But then you got the bundle package. If you want to get Hulu Basic with Disney Plus and ESPN Plus, who watches ESPN Plus, especially these days, $13 a month for that. And then Peacock. Another one has just come out. NBC's got their own service right now. They're including it with the Xfinity service, so with Comcast, so you can watch all the content from Peacock right now through your X1 box with that. So it just keeps going on and on. There's just so much content, and you get so perplexed to how you're gonna be able to watch this stuff. Nice thing about Xfinity Comcast, they have a beta version of their Stream app that works on the Roku, but it's not working on Apple TV. So why wouldn't they want to jump in that audience?
Because they're competitors.
Yeah. So it just keeps going. I mean, so bottom line here is, our discussion here today is the Apple TV is going to be a device that's worth purchasing anymore? I mean, what do you think, Bob?
Well, I think there's a lot of these devices where the use case of them falls off as smart TVs rise, right? So you can buy a decent smart TV for a lot less money today than you could the day before yesterday. And that's headed to zero right now. I mean, the cost of that's headed to zero right now. And there's some things about that, which we'll talk about here in just a second, of why that cost is going to zero. But it's a fascinating subject, and the quality of the picture and all that has gotten so good. The software on some of them, and the Sony Android TV is pretty good. The LG stuff, my son-in-law and daughter have an LG TV that I've played with, and it's not bad. My father-in-law bought a Samsung Smart TV. It's not so good. Anyway, but everybody's working hard, I think, to keep you in their experience, and that's what's going on. And so the big thing about the Apple is he brings the gaming and a bunch of stuff. So if you're into that, it's kind of an all-in-one sort of a shot. What did Steve call it? Not an experiment. Steve Jobs. What did he call?
Yeah, what was it? It was a hobby.
Yeah,
it was a hobby.
Yeah, it's a hobby, and I think it's no longer a hobby. They've got some fabulous content. Did you watch that preview of the Foundation series that's coming?
Yeah,
it was on during the keynote.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I'm sorry, I was just turning on the Apple TV so I can kind of look and comment here at the same time. It's pretty amazing. Like I said, Apple is not as no holds barred. They're no holds barred. Out. They're going all out with content on this channel.
Yeah, and I see it as a pretty viable device in a lot of ways. It's not cheap. I mean, no. My in-laws needed we got them a Roku. It was $29. So.
And, that's what that Roku Express.
They could watch.
I bought that.
And the thing they wanted to do is to watch the streaming from Channel 11, a public TV, and didn't have a streaming TV, so $30, you're running. So,
but if I wanted to live full time on the Apple TV, I could from all the content that's available right now. You have access to all the major networks. There's also that the service, if you're familiar with it, it's called Lowcast. That's an app that you can download on the Apple TV as well as on the iPad and the iPhone that allows you to watch all your local channels. And they're begging you to donate to them right now, because as soon as you change to another channel, they're getting
their pants sued.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if they're getting sued or not. It's still, I haven't heard much about it other than the fact it's great because the reception on all the channels is just crystal clear. It's all the local and all the HD channels in your area. And it's in certain cities across the country. I was just looking, I have the app here. I was watching channel the other day. So I could technically, everything that's on this, I could be watching on my own. I'd have to be paying subscriptions for it. So you look at things like HBO Max. I have a subscription through HBO Max because that's included with my HBO subscription that I have with Comcast. So
I did not know that they had an Apple TV app for Lowcast. So I am going to install that as soon as I go upstairs, because we do over the air. We have a lot of over the air channel. We use TiVo and that, and off and on we have trouble with over the air with interference, local interference here, and that might be a way of solving that problem.
Yep. Yeah. And if you get into Plex, we did a segment on Plex the other previous episode. Plex is accessible right from the Apple TV as well, so you can watch the movies and your music and everything else. You have access to that, and the app ecosystem on Apple TV is pretty awesome. I mean, you can download a lot of apps for different content. YouTube is available. Redbox is another one. Redbox is starting. They're a little late into the game. A family member, my sister-in-law, works for Redbox, and she's been very excited about what Redbox has been doing, and I'm pretty excited. And they're also including in their app you can watch live TV too. Because you have a lot of those other types of TV services like Pluto TV and, like I said, IMDb TV, which isn't on the Apple TV. It is available through the Fire, but you do have a lot of great content here. I mean, Crackle's another one. NBC Sports, Sky News. I mean, it's just the options.
It's phenomenal.
It's just you can have all these apps here. It's all in one place, and you want to watch it on a TV. You don't want it on your computer. You may not necessarily want it on your iPad, but if you have these services on your iPad or your iPhone, you can easily, AirPlay it if the app allows it to that device. Now, unfortunately, I know Xfinity hasn't done it. Comcast hasn't done it yet with the Stream app, but they have done it with the with the Google Stream. You can stream it to the Google Chromecast.
Chromecast. Right.
So, but they haven't yet done it with Apple. So, So, but I bottom line is here, I think Apple TV's got some great value. I think, there's a lot of opportunities here to being able to watch stuff, even with videos. If you want to buy videos and rent videos, you can do that right now. That Jon Stewart movie that just came out, he's doing was doing it as a pay-per-view only, $19.99, just like going to the movies. And you'll be able to watch it through many of the services that are out there. It is got some other great options too. Being able to mirror things through AirPlay, it's more widespread than it used to be. The wallpapers that are on there are pretty beautiful when they go into screensaver.
Fabulous.
They're absolutely fabulous. You got games available on it. You have your photos available on it. So it does do more things than just basic watching TV. So you do have a lot of opportunities to do that and be able to stream. People use it all the time just to share their screen. They want to share their computer screen. You can AirPlay right to an Apple TV, and it works great. So it does have a lot of great value when it comes to what it has to offer beyond just watching TV and watching content. Any other closing thoughts on that until we move on here?
Well, you gave me a couple of things I got to go install my Apple TV. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate that.
So got Locast. What was the other ones?
Well, I got to go look at what Redbox is doing because
Redbox,
I haven't rented a video from Redbox in forever, and I didn't know that they were doing something with local also. So I got to go see what they're doing. Local.
It does have some streaming. I haven't explored it deeply, but they have.
Okay, I'll go look at it.
They have a Netflix type service where you can sign up and you can watch movies.
Yeah, I knew they had that, but okay. Yeah. Well, because I've used Locast on the iPad regularly, not dramatically, but regularly. So I want to try it on. The Apple TV. Absolutely.
So those are the only two things you didn't know about this, the Locast and Redbox.
Well, there's probably some other things, but those the brain can only hold so much, and those two stood out to me. Of the things that I'm thinking about, those two stood out. Like, okay, go look at those, Bob. Go look at those. Yeah. And I also surreptitiously installed that app you told me about. So
there you go.
The watch, the TV, whatever the name of it was, I can't think of it. Just Watch.
Just Watch, right? Make sure we have that. Like I said, we just got to make sure we have that in the show notes for everybody.
Yeah, get Just Watch in there because that looks really interesting. Press the open button so I can see it.
There you go. All right. Well, we got some tips I want to put out there this week. We haven't had too many of those late with WWDC discussions over the last few weeks. So first one is a real cool one is being able to search in Apple Music by lyrics. I think that is really cool.
It's fabulous.
Being able to, if there's a word or a phrase or something, I can't remember the name of that song. And at the moment, and it's buzzing in your head. You just you can't remember it. And all you have to do is either on the Mac or even on your iPhone or iPad, you type in some of the lyrics and it comes up, and it's pretty gosh darn accurate. I was very, I'm very impressed about what it can do, and check that out because you have to have an Apple Music subscription in order to do it.
Right.
But believe me, I think the Apple Music subscription is well worth it. I mean, they give you a deal. It's $199 a year, and that comes out to be a pretty good deal. So
yeah, it's not
check
bad.
that out. Check that out. The other tip I wanted to share a little bit was the ability to connect two AirPods to one iPhone or iPad and share it. It's actually pretty easy to do. If you got two AirPods, you bring it up to the iPhone, you open up the lid just like you're connecting an AirPod like you normally do, and you connect your first one, and then you bring it over to the phone, and then it'll come up and it'll connect your second one. And then what it does is allows you, whether you do it on your iPhone or your iPad, especially on your iPad, especially if you're traveling and want to be able to listen to the movie, watching together while you're sitting next to each other. It allows you to actually have the AirPods working simultaneously, so you can listen to the movie and be able to do that. So they added that in iOS 13, so it's a great feature. I haven't tried it, like you said, in iOS 14 yet, but that does have that option. Third tip it was with the Apple Watch. Apple Watch has the ability of recording a voice memo right from the Apple Watch, and you can say, "Hey, S lady," to your watch, say, "Record a memo," and then of course it comes up on the display. You tap the button on your watch, record your message. And you don't have to have your iPhone on to do this. And then it's there. And then what happens is, of course, it records on your watch. It's going to sync to your iPhone, sync to your iPad, across all your devices over your iCloud. So a quick, easy way to be able to record a voice memo is right there on the watch. I actually, back a few years ago during MacStock, when I was doing a demo on Apple Watch, there was an app, a third-party app called Just Press Record, because they didn't add the voice memo feature on the Apple Watch previously. So now it is built in with the voice memo app. The voice memo app is very powerful. It has a lot of good features for somebody who just needs to record something across all devices. So check that out. And then we've got our fourth and final tip for this week: QR codes. We see QR codes everywhere. Of course, we saw the demo about the iOS 14 and the app clips, which is very similar to what a QR code does. You go up and scan it, and in the case of app clips, it's going to actually open up a mini version of that app and be able to do something like parking or whatever. Well, QR codes have been around forever, and I just did it a few minutes ago. I was setting up an Apple TV here. I wanted to sign into NBC Sports. Well, they were very smart with their app. They actually had the QR code on the TV. So then I went to my iPhone, scanned it, and then it said, "Oh, we see you trying to connect your NBC app to your Comcast account. So we'll sign you in automatically. Boom, you're done." So, and then I've done that before with scanning of QR codes, just like you're finding out information about something. What are some examples you used QR codes for, Bob?
Well, I've been doing HomeKit stuff, and so there's the little HomeKit code, and it's like you got to find it, and playing with security cameras and stuff, and everything uses that sort of a little box code, the HomeKit codes, and like Google has that sort of a thing on their cameras and that equipment. So a lot of devices are using that, so they embed that device ID. Right. In print effectively on the devices, which makes it a lot easier than getting a magnifying glass out and trying to figure it out. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah. QR codes are awesome. I mean, and the technology will just continue. But now with NFC and being able to bring your phone to any device and be able to scan something, it's going to work even better. I mean, it just happened when I needed to sign into my YouTube account on my Apple TV. It says bring your phone close to the Apple TV and make sure it's on the same network, and then just tap your account right here. Automatically knew my phone was on the same network and signed it in. All those fumbling times of having to go with the remote and trying to sign in.
It's crazy.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
And then
it's really
what Apple also did was they extended the QR code not just to the camera. They now added a QR code reader that can be added to the control center on the iPhone.
Right.
And all you basically have to do there is I did a whole discussion on the control center. All you had to do is you go into settings and go to the control center, and to customize the control center, and then there's a choice there adding the QR code reader to the control center, and then all you gotta do is swipe down from the right corner of your iPhone, tap the icon for QR code, and then you get to a lot quicker than having to open up your camera and then scanning it. So 2 ways of being able to scan QR codes, and it's a great feature. So with that, with a little bit of remaining time we have left, anything you got going on in the audio world that you want to share? And I'll put you on the spot here, but maybe
all kinds of things. But
anything specific iOS related or?
No, nothing iOS related. Unfortunately, it's I'm building music servers right now, so it's, it's heatsink compound and running up and down stairs between the lab and the speakers, and that doesn't sound right, and dragging monitors up and down the stairs. And wait a minute, this is all for music? Just listen to the iPod. No, it's not good enough for me. So
you are a crazy man with music.
Well, I'm building music servers for a couple of my customers, so that's part of it, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, and I get to listen to a lot more music when I'm doing that. So that's one of the things we're doing. I've been playing a little bit more with mixing Apple and Google together, as how well they play together. So how the Google applications and the Google services integrate with can be integrated in with Macs and Apple and stuff like that. That might be a little beyond what, and I was gonna, we could talk maybe just for a second if you wanted to talk about smart devices and security.
Oh yeah, let's hit that real quick.
Yeah, and I was just pulling up. So I use something in my network here at home. It's a little computer called a Raspberry Pi.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a little techie. So if I go too deep, yell at me, okay?
Right.
So I run a piece of software on there that's free. It's called Pi-hole, and Pi-HOLE. And what it is, it's a black hole for bad domain requests. So it blocks traffic. And so I just pulled it up and 11.4% of the traffic of the DNS queries of devices on my network, it says 73 devices. So that's probably about right, between the two houses. So I support my in-laws who live next door. They're on my same network. So 11.4% of the traffic is blocked, and that's there's 77,000 total queries, and it keeps ticking up, and 8,900 of them are blocked. Guess where a lot of those queries are coming from?
Google.
Would you like to guess? Where?
Google.
No, the devices.
Oh,
so
your iPhone.
So let me tell you that. Let me tell you, the baddest device on the network is a Samsung TV.
Right.
The Samsung TV, I block, if they're watching TV, I block hundreds of requests an hour from that Samsung TV. Now on my Sony TV, I have it set so it doesn't ask a bunch of those things, so still blocks. Guess what the worst app, well, wait a minute. Last time I checked, guess what the worst app for sending data about what you're watching is?
I don't know. Go ahead and tell us.
CBS All Access.
Really?
I block dozens and dozens, and every time they start a show, stop a show, back and forth, boom, blocks it. I haven't looked at the Hulu app to see how bad it is. Yeah. So this thing blocks almost all of that kind of stuff. And it frustrates people around the house because my father-in-law opens up a web page, right? And where this picture was on his web page, there's a blank spot on his web page. And I said, Jim, that's the blocker. It's blocking this people tracking you. And so after we've had this run in the house on a system for about 4 months now, and it's enlightening, shall we say? So
all right, you did warn me we're going to get a little.
I told you, going down the hole.
Because I think most listeners are probably not going that extensive.
No, but I told you, we're going downhill. But let me tell you something about audio, just because there's something about audio that's fascinating. So I test all the smart home equipment for my customers, because that's one of the things I do, smart home customers. So we kind of migrate from Google to Apple to Amazon and stuff like now. And so now we're in Amazon is in the drawer. Okay. Probably where Amazon belongs, and Google and Apple are in the house. Okay. And, so Google knows my voice, right? Cause I trained Google, but I didn't have anybody else trained. And, Google does not like my wife's voice at all. Siri doesn't mind my wife's voice. But Google does not like my wife's voice at all. When she tells the Google lady to close the bathroom blinds, the Google lady does not understand her at all. So the next phase of this is to put my wife through the pain of training the Google lady to her voice to see if that works. So that's kind of fascinating. We're testing the Google security cameras. That's what we're doing right now. So the little Google Home Hub where you can say, HG instead of HS, the HG, and show me the backyard. Okay. Right. And I like that. That's actually pretty nice. And the only reason we're doing that is they finally figured out how not to charge you $6 a month per camera. They were charging you $5 per month per camera in the system. Crazy. Now, Apple is extending and expanding their system that does not go to the cloud unless you want it to, does not get charged for. Well, it gets charged for because it uses your iCloud storage, right? So, but it isn't another added on fee. And there's more and more cameras and things coming into the Apple ecosystem, which tries to protect your security and your privacy. So that's kind of where I was going with all of this. I've only played with one set of cameras that work, the little Logitech circles. They work reasonably well. Basically, almost all the security camera stuff I've played with here in the last 2 years is borderline functional. It's hard for most people to use.
I have
it's just hard.
I have the Wyze indoor cameras, but Wyze had just introduced an outdoor wireless camera. I put a pre-order in on those, so can't wait to get those and do a discussion of them. They're not terribly expensive. I got 2 wireless cameras. I think it was $120, which is nothing.
Oh, okay. My brother's playing with the little Blink cameras. He was going to get some of those. I don't know if he ever did them, so we'll have to check in with him and see what happens. Yeah, we'll definitely. I've been looking for more HomeKit and Apple Video support cameras after the keynote.
Yeah, sounds like more's coming. Wyze is definitely supporting on the HomeKit. So
okay, I'll go
another
look
topic. Once the cameras arrive, we'll definitely be talking about them. Yeah.
Well, especially if they have outdoor.
I can't wait. And it's wireless.
Yeah, I want to see that.
The indoor ones, you have to plug them into power in each location, so they're kind of used. You really can't put them outside. All the outdoor ones are plugged into power too. So I've used power over Ethernet cameras, AC powered cameras. Right. So the Google Nest ones are all plugged into AC. You got to drive those LEDs, and the Nest app is getting really annoying right now. Another topic.
Another
topic.
All right,
let's go ahead and
wrap it up.
Thanks enough for being here, Bob, and we'll just a second. Let's go ahead and wrap things up for this week. That is a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios, or you can subscribe in your favorite podcatcher, including Apple Podcasts and many others. Or better yet, just go to our website, intouchwithios.com. All the links to all the ways to listen to us are there, all on the right side. Just click one of those links, you'll find a way to listen to us. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter @DaveG65. Bob Fairbairn, thanks for being here. Where can people find you?
Welcome. Thank you. You find me at Twitter's a reasonable place, Bob Fairbairn on Twitter. I've got a website, bobfairbairn.com. Yeah, pretty easy to find.
All right. Yeah, we got you in the show notes. Appreciate you being here, Bob, and we'll have you on again. And everybody, thanks for listening. We really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll talk again soon.